Let me sell you on random attributes. Entirely by the dice, like Gygax intended. I know everyone hates this concept. That's why I'm selling it. So let's let's start off with your classic alternative notion, which is a point buy system. For some games it's fairly simple if they're designed with this in mind, but if they're not, oh, you're in for a complicated story at the beginning. Somebody new asks to join your game and they say, okay, so how do I make this? I'm reading the rules. And you go, no, don't read the rules. The rules stop at this point. We're going with the point buy system. And then they have to go off to this website because it's just too complicated for mere mortals to do by hand. You need a website, you need a special tool for this thing. Okay, so we got our special tool and we're gonna make a mage. Obviously I want the highest possible intelligence. Why would I not want a good character? For roleplay, I mean, I want to roleplay, but why not make a character who's with the character is just that he's very smart. That's part of the character, like every other mage. Coincidentally, pure coincidence. And we don't need that. I'm going to get some additional points because I don't need the wisdom thing. And won't be using this either. Okay. Or we could go, of course, with a fighter. Won't need the intelligence at this point. Definitely will want some of this. Definitely want some of that. So a pattern is forming. The rules don't explicitly tell you you must do this, but if you don't do it, your character won't be optimized, and you want to optimize your character. So, I'm not going to tell you that the alternative will optimize your character. What I'll say is, if you got a class or a concept, I'm going to use them interchangeably here, whether or not you're working with a class system. There are other ways to do things, and it's this. So let's have a look at this. Let's get me out of the way and have a look at this. So let's say we got this character sheet and we're going to do the same kind of thing but with random point buy, and name is, player's name is Alice. Okay, so Alice has, my god, a really bad elf. This person should not be out adventuring in the world. They should have stayed at home. Why on earth are they adventuring? The only thing they have for themselves is, well, elves in this system always have +1 wits, and the strength is normal. Elves are small and skinny, so obviously they're not going to be very strong. The rest is just abysmal. So they could buy off some of those penalties, stop being, take away the intelligence penalty. Taking away penalties is very cheap in this system, at least that really helps. And then of course play a fairly standard mage with some serious physical deficits. They'll still be able to take part in the game, take turns, etc. But we have already a new character concept, something that you wouldn't be able to do in so many games which have point buy, because you would never buy these points. These are awful. Okay, who else? Chris. Let's see what my friend Chris would play. Obviously, it's randomly generating on the fly because I told it to, and we're taking the name as a seed and blah blah math. It's very boring. Just trust me, this is randomly generated. Of course, it's the same every time. If you do Alice again, we'll get back to that elf. But assuming you taking the name as a given is randomly generated after this, so these are the kind of organic results that you will get. So Chris will be playing a dwarf. He's stronger than other dwarves. Dexterous, or dwarves tend to be dexterous, but he's super dexterous and not very fast. So that kind of speaks to me of maybe somebody of a larger build. I think he's quite a fat dwarf. Not like the stereotype of dwarves, but like very big. And that's fine. He can still make a great adventurer. He's characterful. The intelligence penalty is, it's not just there to be a character, to buy up the attributes, to buy up the other things. It's there just randomly. He's just, he picks his nose too much. Bad charisma, he's a bit slow, really thick as 2 short planks. Okay, it's a fun concept. And let's try, I don't know, next letter in the alphabet, Drake. Human, bog standard here. Oh, look at that charisma score. So, let's say this person wants to play a fightery type character. That totally works. He's strong and fast, and that intelligence and the charisma is just kind of randomly there. You've got to interpret that. You've got to say, like, okay, why is that there? I suppose he's a happy-go-lucky, very honest person, and people just feel that honesty in the eyes. But with the point buy system, you were never going to get a fighter that just was extraordinarily likable. And there was really no reason for that additional intelligence. In fact, he's got more wits than the average human. The average human has -1. Let's say Elliot. What's she going to play? Okay, strength and dexterity and high charisma. We could go with a sort of bardic character, not one of the... without leaning into the stereotype of also doing magic, which would require intelligence. It's just a charismatic person who's strong and nimble and definitely will not be identifying any items. A bit thick. Maybe like the bard from The Witcher. Is he thick? Not really. Maybe. I don't know. You could definitely lean into that. A bard, something like the bard from The Witcher. Or with this system, you could do something like Louis the Rune Soldier, who's a really rubbish mage. He's not that rubbish. He certainly hasn't gone like all out in intelligence if you were to do a stats. He's extremely strong for some reason. And that's just like one of these random character quirks. He's not optimized. And when you get people who aren't optimized, when you get them being like just rough and weird around the edges, you get these random things. This one is clumsy. He's a human who's clumsy. Jane, what's she gonna play? An elf. A fantastically strong elf who's stronger than normal elves, less witty, also picks a nose. Nobody likes that kind of thing. So yeah, type in a random string, you get random numbers, and you get these weird glitchy characters that are... they just have their own character. Or not, maybe you don't think clumsy as being much of a character. But it does make something kind of unique. It means that you can, like, you can talk about your group like, we've got this random gnome person who's not really nimble like the other gnomes, but you know, he's always good at talking to people and getting out of situations. He's always good at this and that, as opposed to just yet another optimized illusionist for illusion. And while we're here, why would you choose anyone but a gnome for being a spellcaster? They get an intelligence bonus. You want the intelligence bonus, take the gnome for the spellcaster. You're just giving yourself penalties otherwise. Why would anyone take a race which has a penalty to intelligence if you're going to play a spellcaster? You need to pay for all these points, and oh, it's just a bit rubbish. It's not rubbish. A lot of people like these things, but I recommend trying with random attributes. Just lean into it, lean into the character. If you get a good character, excellent. If you get a rubbish character, figure out what that character is, what they do, why, and what they can do to get around it. This is, to me, one of the most interesting aspects of a bunch of RPGs. It's the interpretation and just like seeing what happens. Yeah, who's this? No idea. Let's find out.